so it is absolutely a perfect day for racing. No cloud cover, so the sun will become a factor a little bit later on, but it's not those high Middle Eastern temperatures today. Very mild temperatures expected for the athletes. The ladies getting ready to go, and there we have our front of the swim pack, still fairly close together in the men's race, with 5-6 athletes all on each other's toes, one man out front, and all of the athletes very close together. It's 1.9 kilometers of swimming, 1,900 meters, and this means in a fairly compact space and very spectator friendly as well, with people lining the banks. Loads of people here this morning. Just before we came on air, I was outside, had a little walk around, felt the energy, felt the vibe, heard Paul Kay and the team on the mic, and they're just getting the athletes ready. And it's always interesting to see the way different people approach the start of the race. Some of them look completely terrified, and others are looking like they've just woken up, like they're barely paying attention. So somewhere between those two extremes is probably a good place to be. Good morning and welcome to the 5th edition of the IRONMAN 70.3 Middle East Championships in Bahrain. Following our men's race, the ladies set to go fairly shortly. And I would imagine they'll be around about now that the ladies will go. They normally go 3 minutes or so behind the men, you'd think. Once again, thank you for joining us this morning. If you've got somebody racing or you'd like any information, head over to the IRONMAN 70.3 Middle East Championship page, and you'll find the stream is running there. Just comment underneath the stream, and we will read your comments on the air this morning. One of the things we always like to do is ask you where you're watching from. So where are you at the moment in the world? Of course, the Middle East is part of the world with lots of expats, so you'll find 89 countries represented here this weekend, and the biggest of those, of course, is the beautiful people from the Kingdom of Bahrain. Great overhead shot there of our age groupers getting ready to go, and they're lining themselves up in what we call a rolling swim start. Basically what that means is we ask athletes to seed themselves according to their swim ability, and so if you're able to swim 30 minutes or less, you'll start up front. If you're like me and you need the whole hour and 10 minutes, then you'll start right at the back, or perhaps you're somewhere in between. I tell you what, if you look at that picture, these guys are working hard already. So the course is flat and fast, and they're taking that seriously from the start of the swim. And little by little, they'll begin to stretch out into a straighter line as they make their way towards that second buoy. The green buoys you're seeing on screen there, those are what we call marker buoys that just help athletes swim in a more of a straight line direction. And one of the things I always made, the mistakes that I always made, was I would zigzag all over the place and turn 1.9 kilometers of swimming into 2.4 kilometers of swimming because I couldn't swim in a straight line. So those marker buoys between the turn buoys are very important to the athletes. You'll notice every now and then, every 5 or 6 strokes, they'll pop a head up just to have a look, have a sight, and then they'll get the head back down. Very important to get yourself into that horizontal, easy swimming position as fast as you possibly can, and get yourself up to race pace as fast as you can. And one would imagine, with this being a world record course, the fastest IRONMAN 70.3 course on the planet, everybody wants to get out the water somewhere near the front, which is not normally the case in the longer distance running races. You can get yourself in, as long as you're not too far out of touch coming out of the water, you are still in with a chance. But I feel with the bike course as flat as it is, these guys will all want to try and stay as close to the leader on the bike as they can. This is our men's professional race in the Bahrain Bay, and what a beautiful bay it is in the heart of Manama. And if you have a look around, you'll see I'm sure you'll get a glimpse of the World Trade Center, that beautiful twin peak building with those big propellers that are mounted in the middle, which apparently are used to generate hydroelectricity, or not hydroelectricity, but wind electricity for the building, which is really cool. On the other side of the bay, you've got the Four Seasons Hotel, which is an absolutely stunning hotel shaped as an H. And the middle section of the building is where we had our press conference a couple of years ago, and I think it's something like 30 or 40 floors up. With my fear of heights, I'm not terribly excited about that. This is our men's race, and you can tell they're all staying together. No one's really pulling away at the moment. And if we have a look at our results from last year, I just want to try and find you the results from last year and what was the fastest swim time last year. So there you have the yellow boy on the left-hand side will be their third turning boy. They'll make their way to the second one, which will come into screen fairly shortly. And when they get to that point, it's a left-hand turn, and then it's a real short little about 150 to 200 meter swim to the third turn buoy. They then turn left again and they make their way back, and the backdrop then will be the Four Seasons Hotel. So last year, race winner swam 21.36, so 21 minutes 36 seconds. That was Christian Blumenfeld. He was the man who took the overall win with the world record time of 3:29.04. So 3:29.04, he biked it at 1:56.52 and ran a 1:06.57, which is just absolutely incredible. 21 minutes was Christian Blumenfeld's time last year. And the man just behind him, Gustav Iden, who's also from Norway, was the three Norwegians, remember, who owned the race last year. He swam 22 minutes. Gustav Iden, a fantastic athlete. Then third place was, of course, Kasper Stornes, and he swam 21:30, so he was just on the heels of Christian Blumenfeld. Christian literally just 6 seconds behind, so Kasper Stornes was the man who came out the water 6 seconds ahead. Past the green buoy they go, and they've got that beautiful lane that guides them to that yellow turnaround point. You'll notice plenty of life support as far as the athletes are concerned. There is plenty of lifeguards and water safety officials that are out there. The man last year who had a great swim was Adam Bowden from the UK, and on the day he became the fastest British athlete over 70.3 miles. He swam 21 minutes, so he was 30 seconds in the lead coming out the water, and he got himself a 3:35.03. And it's always impressive when you have a look at those top four finishers, and all of them under 3 hours 40. Matt Troutman from South Africa came in fifth last year, and he swam 22:48, which is a phenomenal time. But if you have a look at that 3:39, he was 10 minutes slower than Christian Blumenfeld. So we had a chat with Christian Blumenfeld earlier in the week, and I asked him, having set a record on this course and won, not only are you coming back to defend your title, but are you coming back to try and break your own record? And he did the sensible thing and said, well, first I want to try and get my hands on the win. That's the most important thing, is I need to get the win first, and then we'll figure everything out. So past the third buoy they go. This is the IRONMAN 70.3 Middle East Championships, the 2019 edition. 5 times we've been here, and the leading men have now made that left-hand turn at that third buoy and making their way back towards the fourth buoy, the final turn, where they'll turn left for the final time. And we've been racing for 11 minutes, and they've already gone more than halfway on the course. Adam Bowden was the man who swam 21 flat last year. Can they get through that time quicker than 21 minutes? Our age group athletes starting in the rolling start, the self-seating rolling start, all a part of Ironman's Swim Smart initiative. And the basic analysis of this, if you're not an Ironman athlete or you're thinking of doing an Ironman, in the old days when I was racing, or maybe perhaps not the old days, but not so long ago, it was a mass start. So everyone would start together. You'd have 2,000 people running into the water together, and they'd call it the washing machine, because it was like a washing machine. You'd be kicked and punched and people swim over your head, whereas now they put you in a rolling start. So every few seconds a couple of athletes will enter the water, and it stretches out the field. You're swimming with people around you that swim more or less the same strength as you, and it also makes the life of our water safety team a lot easier as well, because they're able to get to athletes a lot quicker, because there's a lot less density in the amount of athletes that there are. And generally it just makes everybody feel a lot more relaxed and a lot calmer when they're in the water. The swim for a lot of the athletes is the most stressful part of any Ironman race, and it's usually the part where we've had incidents. They usually happen in the swim. So the effort to try and neutralize the panic and give athletes, particularly our age group athletes, the calmest possible swim is working very well. You must remember there are always three types of athletes at any Ironman race. There are the professionals, those and the top age groupers that are out there to race hard. They're all gunning for those podium positions. They're all looking for one of those slots, one of those 75 slots to the Ironman 70.3 World Championship 2020 in Taupo, New Zealand. Then you have the middle of the packers who are just looking to go slightly better than they did last year. And last but not least, you have those first-time athletes that are out there doing everything they can to complete the 113 kilometers or 70.3 miles in the 8.5 hours allotted. And there are various hard cutoffs throughout the day that these athletes need to be aware of. I'll have a look at this. This is some of our pro men and our pro ladies that are racing just behind them, just 3 minutes behind them. The pro ladies are racing and chasing that win with Holly Lawrence, the lady who leads the charge there. But there are some real good names in the mix there. You have to think of Lisa Norden, who is a phenomenal athlete. You also have to think of people like Sarah Svensk, Jodie Stinson, India Lee. Lucy Hall is apparently, as we were finding out at the press conference the other day, Lucy Hall is the lady to watch. They say she's going to be somewhere near the end of the swim. She'll be somewhere near the front of the swim. And she'll probably be one of the leading ladies out there. Lisa Norden in the mix there as well. Men's race looking very good. You'll notice that the pros are not wearing wetsuits. If you're just joining us, our professional men and women not allowed to wear the wetsuits with a 24-degree water temperature. Our age group is just allowed to choose, optional. They can choose yes or no. Most age groupers I know will say yes because their wetsuits are kind of like their little safety blanket. It keeps them safe. It's very buoyant. A very different feeling swimming in the open water without a wetsuit than with one. And more of the age groupers wading into that swim start area. Have a look at the guys in orange. Those are our volunteers, hundreds of volunteers here in Bahrain as they help our athletes get through their day. Oftentimes unseen, many times unappreciated. And yesterday was World International Volunteer Day. Not yesterday, sorry, Thursday was World International Volunteer Day. And we took a moment just to say thank you to our volunteers. So the front end of the men's race at the Ironman 70.3 Middle East Championships Bahrain features an athlete in the colors of the Bahrain Endurance 13 team. And this is going to be an incredible day's racing. Last year was all about records breaking. Will we see that again this year? What a beautiful overhead shot that is now of all of those age groupers. And as we said, you can see them stretch out into a long line of swimmers as they make their way around the course. And close to 2,000 athletes racing here today from 89 countries from around the world. And I'll give you a couple of highlights of where those countries are. 20% of the field is made up of female athletes, so our ladies are 20% of the field, and 80% of the field, obviously, the men. The oldest participant here today is a gentleman called Fouad Saliba from Bahrain, and he is 73 years old, and he's qualified for the World Championships many times. Those coming back for the first time, or those coming back regularly, make up 723 athletes, and brand new participants here is 18.